staff here at the Career Development Center, and to all of you for being here today. I'm very honored to be here and to share a little bit of my knowledge, my experience, and of course my awesome friends that have also been willing to come here and share with you. So I hope that each of you learned something today, that you make some contacts, and that, you know, hopefully this will awaken in you the possibilities that are out there in media and communications, and give you an insight into some career paths that you hadn't considered before, and more insight on the ones you maybe have already. I'm going to get started today by introducing my panelists, and I'm going to try to go in order. They're all my friends, so I have their bios here. I'm going to try to just look at the little highlights, but I know them all pretty well. I'm going to start off here right next to me with Orlando Rosa, or Orlando Mix, as he likes to be known, if you listen to La Zeta 105.7. He is the program director for La Zeta and also for El Patron, two of the most well-known brands here in Latino radio in Atlanta. And he's also an on-air personality. And of course, La Zeta and El Patron are both owned by iHeart Media. My next friend and guest here is Jorge Gomez. Jorge is an institution. I would have to say that Jorge is probably the godfather of media, Latino media here in Georgia. I would venture to say he was probably one of the first Latinos in the community that was out there speaking about our community, selling our potential and our earning power. His career started at Comcast, where he worked for many years. Also has been at many of the local properties like Univision for I think over 15 years at Univision, Telemundo, Atlanta, Mundo Hispanico, and now he is, we're going to call it semi-retired, as the marketing director for Plaza Fiesta, which is el corazón del hispano, right here in Georgia. So it's our little heart of Latino culture, just on Beaufort Highway in Claremont. If you have not ever been in there, make sure you go over there soon. Best food, I mean, just a cultural experience, and go there on a Sunday, and you will definitely be blown away. I love hanging out there. Thank you, Jorge, for being here. Next to Jorge is Gina Sanchez, the CEO of Gisache Entertainment. Gina is also a powerhouse. I have stories about Gina. I'll tell you a story. This is a true story. So Gina runs, like, if there's any major concerts in the market, Gina's involved in them, okay? And one day we were hanging out somewhere, and we were going to go all to the after party at Havana. Do you know where Havana is? And we get there, and Gina's not there yet. We get there, and like 15 people, and the guy at the door is like, nah, we're sold out, you can't come in. We didn't look nice enough for him. And all my friends were like, oh my God, let's go. And I'm like, no, just wait. This is Gina's party. We're gonna be all right. And Gina walks up, the guy opens the gate, lets us all in. We had a VIP table, champagne bottles, everything. I mean, just the best table. And that's Gina. I had to share that because that's Gina. And she has a great background, doing tours and concerts with some of the most famous artists in Latin America. Also a video producer and marketer and event producer, so she has a lot of experience that she's going to share with us today. And next to Gina. Next to Gina is my friend Ivan Shamas, who is the president of Univision Atlanta and Univision Raleigh. He is also, we say, a pioneer, but we always joke with him and say, Ivan, did you start working when you were 12? Yes. But Ivan, I'm going to just share with you a little bit from his bio that he sent me last night. Ivan is the was named by Atlanta Business Chronicle in 2022 as one of the Power 100 most influential in Georgia. He has also been recognized by Atlanta Magazine for the second year in a row as Atlanta's 500 most powerful leaders in 2022. He has been selected as the 2022 Georgia Titan 100, part of that group. In 2021, Shamas was honored for the second year in a row as Georgia 100 Most Influential People by Georgia Trend Magazine. And he's a 3-time recipient of the Georgia Hispanic Chamber's 50 Most Influential Latinos in Georgia. And I could go on, there's more.
Right.
Please stop.
And I will say, Gina, Jorge, and I have also been on at least on the Georgia Hispanic Chamber 50 Most Influential list. But we're trying to catch up to Ivan.
Yes.
Ivan is somebody with a huge heart. He's always involved in anything that's going to be giving back to the community. And I sent him an email, and 2 seconds later he's like, I'll be there. So that's Ivan, and just definitely somebody that we should all connect with and have on our roadbooks. So I hope you all get to know.
Yes.
And then an applause for our friend. And last but not least, I have Isabel Carlota. Isabel is a social media content creator, fashionista. I really wanted her here because I know that she is going to give you some insight onto, some very trending career paths that some of you may have even considered, because now the idea of content creation and our social media apps are just all the rage, and it is really one of the most powerful tools for connecting brands with consumers and connecting all of us with each other. So I definitely want her to share some of her experience as well with us. And well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started with some questions for each of them. And
thank you for that introduction, Andrea, who is a superstar in this Atlanta market, by the way.
well, since you spoke first, we're going to start with you first.
We're all going to have a lot to say here. You put 5 Latinos up here. I don't know what time you guys got to cut out of here, but
Especially me.
it's going to be fun.
I don't need my microphone though.
Yeah, you don't give us a mic.
Exactly. So, Ivan,
Yes.
you are now the president of Univision Atlanta, Univision Raleigh. I know that you spent 8 years as the general manager for Telemundo Atlanta, and 14 years prior to that at Univision in the sales division. Can you talk to our students and share with them a little bit about what it took to get to where you are today?
That's one of the most easiest questions I've had, because I'm going to tell you what happened, and I'll make it quick. 1999, this is before you knew who Shakira was, or Enrique, or Gasolina. There were very few Latinos here, and there were fewer that wanted to get into sales with a college degree that spoke Spanish. So I was graduating from Georgia State. I'm a Norcross kid. I live here in Brookhaven, so we love Oglethorpe. And 3 months before I graduated, I got to interview with this guy, Jorge Gomez. He was the only and the first person selling Spanish media on air in this market.
For TV.
For television, Spanish television, yep, thank you. He was the guy. Publix, McDonald's, Plaza Fiesta, lo que sea. He was the guy that was selling the media. He hired me. So it's a blessing to be in the room with these friends. And because of this, he has changed the direction of my life, my family, my career. And we've given back, and I have followed him to 3 different companies. From Comcast, we went to a technology company, USA.net, right before 9/11. From there, he was one of the first hired at Univision that opened up in 2001. And I was there with him for the 3rd time. And then a few years ago, I was honored to hire him as my director of sales over at Telemundo when I was there. And 2 years later, he quit on me.
No, 4 years. 4 years. Well, actually, it was 3 years, 9 months.
So that's how, I love it. So
For health reasons.
So he is a personal friend, mentor, and so is everybody on this stage. We're all family here, and that's the secret weapon over here. So how did I get here? I had one opportunity, and then you grew from there. Push to get in the door, whether it's with media, with an agency, whatever it may be, internship, and then continue to grow. One thing that has helped me is that it's more than just a job. It's not just showing up and doing your thing. It's getting involved in the community. And that has allowed me to propel more so than my other peers in media, because we are servant leaders, giving back, taking these opportunities, volunteering with Galeo, Latin American Association, Georgia Hispanic Chamber, And because of that, it's not just about your resume, but because of that, we have continued to grow, and we've all pulled each other up. And that's our responsibility.
Ivan, just mention how many boards are you serving right now? Give me the list.
You're so funny. I don't, you get pulled in because there's so few of us Latinos who can be pulled into a board to help with that influence. And I'm on, this is not public, but I'm on 8 different boards, and I said no. But it's tough when, my kid's school calls me and says, hey, we need Latin representation. Cristo Rey calls because there's 55% Hispanic students and they need Latin representation. YMCA, Metro Atlanta, Atlanta Community Food Bank, the Georgia Hispanic Chamber that Andrea is going to be the chair of this coming year, which is great. So she served on that board for many years, which is great. And so there's 8 of them, but you got to manage your time. And my first step to doing any of that was back in early 2000s. I faxed in an application to Galeo. How many people here know what Galeo is? Georgia Association for Latino Elected Officials. They were doing a leadership institute. I think it may have cost me $75 at the time. Sent in my application via fax. I got an email back. Hey, we're accepting you. And that was my first taste at volunteering and understanding being involved with the community. And from there, you get on a committee. From there, you're involved with advocacy, voter registration, marketing. Ivan, can you be on this board? And it continues to grow. So take that first step, servant leadership, grow with it, find your job, get your foot in the door, and you'll grow.
That's a lot of information, but
Right.
Absolutely on the money, Ivan, and definitely something that I will, second him on that. Get active and get in our community.
Right.
I'm going to ask you a last question because you answered about 3 of you.
Right.
but I think it's important because we have a room full of multicultural students, a lot of them Latinos that speak Spanish and English. And I want you to share with us how important it has been for you being bilingual in your career. Did you ever think that was something that you would need?
Little did I know. Going to Norcross High School, Georgia State, barely using my Spanish, little do any of us know that is your secret weapon. That is going to get you ahead in life. And for those non-Latinos as well, being Latino at heart and understanding this culture and how important it is, and that 1 out of 4 under the 18 is being born into this country that is Hispanic, if you understand that, that is going to give you a job more so than the other person. As minorities, it's easier at this point in this world to get a job than my white friends. And that's fine. That's the world we're living in. So this is your secret weapon. You understanding the largest minority in the United States is your power. You speaking 2 languages. Because every business out there, every institution, every university, wherever you end up working, has to pay attention to our community and this growing demographic. Because if not, you won't know who that company is in a few years.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to jump from TV, Spanish media TV, to radio. And with Orlando here, who is a program manager for 2 stations. Can you share with us a little bit, what is the role of a program manager? What is it that you do?
So as a program director, it's kind of changed throughout the years. Obviously with technology, social media coming into play. But the program director or program manager or content director, different companies call it differently, but just in a nutshell, what a program director does is helps manage the station of what you guys see and hear on the air. So everything from the music that's played to the strategies that we do as far as promotions are concerned, to managing a team. Actually have my assistant program director came in, he's in the crowd right there, Luis Treviño. He's our assistant program director. He does 3 to 7 also on Z1057 and on El Patron. And it's a mix of programming the music, doing a lot of research. iHeart is very big in research as a company, so a lot of looking at analytics, looking at music choice, looking at demos, looking at what's trending, what's not trending. So it's a lot of that. And then obviously, the part which I hold dear to me is the community stuff. Being out there with the community, visiting the LAA. I love going to the LAA, the Mexican consulate. We do a lot of things with them too. And just staying involved with the community. That's a big part of being a program director. That's kind of in a nutshell.
Awesome. So you spoke a little bit about technology and about how the music that we listen to on the radio gets played. And my curiosity, and you're really kind of thinking in the realm of these young professionals that are now considering choices for the direction of their careers. What do you think are the changes that are coming to radio that are going to impact them as professionals, as employees? And what advice would you give them as if they're interested in getting into radio?
The first thing is passion. If you have no passion for what you do, stay away from radio, because you need the passion, because it's not the highest paid job, and going into radio, you have to win your stripes, to put it some way. You typically start as a promotion person, so you're out there in the field, you're setting up tents. Why? Because you're learning the craft of what it takes to get to the higher ups, But the biggest thing is passion. I always say that, passion, because if you don't have passion for what you do, you translate that on the air, You have to be passionate for what you do. The second thing is get involved with your community. Make sure that you know everything that's going around you, because you want to be able to relay that message on the air. And the third, I would say, is get very involved in social media. Like, social media is a big plus now as a radio talent. If you don't have a big social media base, it's harder for you to get across your message. So social media plays a big role, and I think she could speak a lot about it later on, more into detail. But us as talents and us as employees of the company, I would say now 60% of our duties as talent is sticking to social media. We have to post every day. We have to push listening on our iHeart radio app. That's a big push that the company has. So we have to intertwine that with social media posting. So, just a quick example. Right now we're doing a cash contest. Win $1,000 every hour. So we have to post as talents. Gana $1,000 con 1,000 por hora, y no olvides de escucharnos aquí. So click here to listen to us. So a lot of that. So just learning and having the passion to become a talent. I would say passion is all in radio.
Absolutely,
It really is.
absolutely. So, am I understanding you correctly that hour and 14 minutes that I spent yesterday listening to Pierre's interview, yay, would serve me well right
Yes,
now?
absolutely. And what's going on with that is crazy. I mean, there's so much, with talents being so influential nowadays. I mean, you move the needle. I mean, as far as trend, what people wear. I mean, there's so much endorsements. Andrea, you know that department very well. Talents are used a lot now for endorsements, because as a talent, and you have a big listener base, you want to be like that person, or you hear them every day. So if that person tells you, hey, I want to recommend you to use this dietary supplement because it's working on me, or use this vehicle because it's the best vehicle out there. You listen to that person, you kind of start believing in what they say and do. So it's a big influence of that. So being an influencer on the air and having endorsements, it's a big part of radio now.
So if I was a talent, if I was one of these young students and I wanted to get on air on La Zeta, is this like having a demo with your song, and we send you a demo? How do we get that in front of you to get a job at La Zeta?
So there's how can I call it? There's always openings on the station, right? So we're always looking for weekenders. We're looking at getting people started in the weekends to kind of hear them out. The way we kind of vet that is through interviews. So obviously there'll be a rec that we put on iHeart, careers.com, and you would apply for that. But typically, to become a talent, usually, unless you're from another market and you're coming already with experience, if you're not, you typically start as a promotion. That's kind of the way up, and then you start talking to your program director. Hey, I'm looking at an opportunity to get on the air. Here's a quick demo. Persistence with the program director is a big one. Reaching out to them. Hey, how you doing? I just recorded this little demo. Would love to do this. Make yourself available. Hey, I would like, to record a commercial for you. Record a commercial. That might be, your opportunity for somebody that was sick that day to be able to have the opportunity to go on the air and end up, liking, the program director ends up liking what he hears on the air and then offers you a job, as a part-timer. And for a part-timer, you become a full-timer. And then next thing you know, you're in an important day part. So in radio, day parts go from morning show, which is typically 6 to 10, to your midday shift, which is what I kind of do now, 10 to 3, and then 3 to 7, where Luis Trevino's at your afternoon drive, and then nights, which is 7 to midnight. So you typically start at the bottom. You know, you'll probably do overnights from 6 to 10, and then as you grow and as the program director is kind of listening to you and looking at ratings, because ratings plays a big factor in this also, you know, you could get bumped to a better day part, and it kind of moves from on, you know,
Awesome.
as that goes.
Okay, well, let me sure they all get your email so they can start connecting with you. Awesome, awesome. So, Orlando spoke about social media and how important it is in his world and his career for communications and marketing. I would probably say all of us could say the same. I would say different degrees. Isabel is a social media expert and influencer. I would love to hear from you, Isabel. How would you describe your career and what you do?
Okay, hello. Is this working? It's working?
Sí.
Hello, everyone. So that's a good question, because I mean, I do so much stuff, but basically my business tagline is on a mission for entrepreneurs. So I help business owners, influencers, and bloggers achieve their social media goals with strategy, of course, and build a trustworthy community so they can, of course, make sales. That's the main point, always make sales. And nowadays, it's so hard, especially with fashion, because I'm in the fashion industry. I went for fashion marketing and merchandising, and then I did a minor in photography. So fashion changes every week, for example, like trends, and of course social media does too. For example, we have Reels going on right now, and then next week it's gonna be live content, and then now we have this app called Be Real, where you have to be real, and that's the main point of social media, being real, which is hard, of course, because you need a strategy first, but I basically do that, help, you know, all the business owners and social media, like build a social media presence that connects and makes sales. Let's put it like that.
Got it. So if you were, and you're probably the closest in age group here, if you had to do it all again, oh, me too. If you had to do this all again, now knowing, because you're now out in your career and working, and you had to pick a class that maybe you didn't take when you were in college, what would you focus on today?
Business. Trust me, I mean, I did take some business classes, but nowadays, if you want to have anything in life, or whatever your goals are, you need that business intuition, that business, that you know, garra in Spanish. Because, I mean, you can have all the creative stuff in your mind, but if you don't know how to put it in paper and explain it as a business plan, you're not doing anything. So, of course, I will take a business class, like more team business building stuff. I mean, I love working with teams, but as an entrepreneur, it's hard sometimes to delegate that kind of stuff. Like, you're the right person for this, you're the right person for this. So for me, maybe a team business class would be perfect. And of course, you guys are in college right now, build connections and build your team in college. If you have a plan right now, make a business plan and pick the right people next to you so you guys can do something together. Maybe an app, maybe a business, a product, I mean, whatever you guys are thinking inside your mind, find the right people so you guys can work together. Working together, it's the future. It's not just you in here, it's everyone.
Good point.
Absolutely, yes. And we definitely have I think a very entrepreneurial generation. It's incredible. You know, your age and even younger, everyone has got an idea to solve a problem, a product that they want to introduce into the market, and it's very cool to see it on this end, and in our community especially. I'm going to transition now to Gina, who also does a lot of social media, but Gina's world is a little bit different, and I want her to share a little bit about what she does in a typical day for Gisache Entertainment. What's that look like?
Okay. I am very nervous because I'm always behind the scene. Always behind the stage, never at the front. I work as logistics for concerts. So every time you see Maluma coming in town, or you know, any big Latino artist, I get hired to do all the logistics, which is transportation, hotels, getting their hotels, getting their meals, getting all their hospitality at the venue. So I have a team that we put all that together. So imagine in the pandemic, there was no concerts, 0 concerts. One day I get canceled like 7 tours, So I was like, what am I gonna do? I started crying, it was terrible, because all the shows that we have for years, like the whole year, they were canceled. So I use all my knowledge in social media and marketing for the concerts. I use it for other local clients that they were doing well, like supermarkets, like restaurants. They were doing great during the pandemic. So I use all that knowledge. I changed everything to work for that kind of businesses and put all the things. I work with Isabel too. She helps me to create content. We work together and we have an amazing team of young people always giving us ideas that work for individual clients. When the pandemic is over, now I have concert every weekend. I have like 20 concerts this weekend, so I'm still doing both.
How many?
I have like 20, because I also work in
All
other
the
cities. I have Boston, Chicago. So what I do in other cities, I go train people, and then I can do everything from my phone.
That is true.
Yeah,
She does. She's very good at that. I know. Gina, talk to us a little bit about how you got into the industry and what you would recommend somebody that's interested in this industry. What would that career path look like?
Okay. Like Ivan say, internship. This is how I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment, but I was thinking I'm going to be an actor, but no, it didn't work out. So I started went to college, did an internship in a radio station for 3 months. After 3 months, they hired me, doing nothing related to what I studied. I was doing business. I was a business manager for the radio station. So all the numbers, I'm like, I don't know any of this. Like I was trying to do production or be on air. I wanted to be like a promotion director or stuff like that, but they put me on the part like business numbers. I'm like, oh, are you sure? So I was there, and the last 6 years, and all my people that I know, all the connections that I made during those 6 years are my clients now. So now they promote the programming director that I met at that time. Now he's the Maluma manager. So that's how he hired me. And all the people that I know through the industry is because of that job. So the connections are very important. Internship, please do it like I did. And after 3 months, I was already in.
So Lisa mentioned that when we first started talking about how we met and how every connection is an important connection. I think everyone here on the panel has mentioned how important that is. So I want you guys all to really hear that, because one of the things that just really sparked my thought process with what Gina said is, the guy who is the manager for Maluma now. Is there anybody here who doesn't know who Maluma is? Okay, that's what I'm thinking. All right, the manager, Maluma's manager, started out in another role that she connected with 10 years ago, and she kept that relationship and connection with him. And she grew, he grew, and remembered her, or that connection continued. And when he needed somebody, to handle such an important client, he thought of Gina. So I think that's the piece that we all need to hang on to, is that today that person may be just the guy, the guy answering the phone, maybe the driver for that artist, but that driver for that artist tomorrow might be, the tour manager, for a major production later on. So please nurture those relationships. Gina, if you had to learn one thing today, knowing everything you have, what would you advise these students to focus on?
Okay, not staying only, like I say, I was doing concerts, I was so busy doing all these shows, and then one day there was like no concerts. So always have a second plan, always have a plan B, always know that you can use the same thing with another product or another career. Like always, learning, keep studying. It's you never stop learning. So that's one of the things that it happens to me, and I am like so grateful. I had like probably like 20 accounts. I keep all my social media accounts, and I'm still doing the shows. So I'm able to do both. My company grow. I have employees now. I have people that I do a lot of connections. Like Isabel, it helps me, and we have so we grow two different things, but they're both are kind of related. It's like
reinvent yourself.
reinvent yourself.
Yeah, and vertical, do vertical.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, Jorge, I was going to ask you next. So, I'll talk to you next. So, Jorge, you're the godfather here. I'm not going to say how long you've been in the market again. Talk to us about what the biggest changes, the most significant changes that you've seen in Latino media here in Georgia and the Atlanta market from when you started to today.
Very good question. I'm glad you asked because I was thinking of that this morning. Media before, like 20 years ago, actually 28 years, almost 30 years ago, it was really easy. Do marketing it was a piece of cake. You just put an ad in the paper or put a commercial on TV or put a little commercial, and then, that was it. That was enough. Just do frequency. And so it was really easy. But then 25 years forward, it is so complicated because it's so fragmented. And to be able to reach the consumer, before it was you would just broadcast station, blanket it, and there was only like 5, 6 TV stations, and the same thing with the radio stations was very limited. So you can reach the audience you target really easy. But then it comes to technology, and now you had to find ways to find you as a consumer in so many different ways. I had to do radio, find out what radio stations you look. And for example, iHeart Media, they have the profile of the consumer, and they know exactly if you're looking for someone that's looking for a car, and between these ages with this income, they have that. Same thing television have it now. Before Univision was just only, we put on TV spots on there, that was enough. It's not enough anymore. You have to do digital, part of it in conjunction with the TV. Then not only that, you need to do events and promotion. Same thing with the radio. We can do without just you have to do events. That's why you have promotions and event directors. And then touching people. You have to be out there with the community. I mean, you just cannot be, put ads in the paper and then social media too, and then just change it and it's evolving. I mean, I think right now, and after the pandemic, it's just kind of really crazy. I mean, it's just like we're going 1,000 miles per hour and just trying to keep up with it. The changes and TikTok. Like TikTok is crazy. It's real. Now it's real. See, I'm behind. I'm finally catching up with TikTok, and now you got another one. Yeah.
And that is the reality. That is the reality that we live in. That we learn something. Okay, I gave up on. I almost had given up on social media because I would master one media space, and I'm helping my clients, whatever.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got this down, then I come to this panel and I find out that there's Be Real. Never heard of. So now I have to go back to the office and now start learning about Be Real.
And now, before I forget this, now with the social media digital marketing, they change the algorithms all the time. So you always have to step on top of the algorithms. And then one thing was working before, and you start doing a campaign for a client, and it's not working. It's like, well, this was working before, now it's not working. So okay, so we ran that.
Absolutely. So I was just thinking about just talking about all this data and all of this information. Somebody, when I was out in the hall, asked me, said to me, and he's probably sitting in here, he said to me, hey, I'm not a creative, I'm not in marketing, but I'm a business major, how do I fit in there? Let me tell you, if you are a numbers person, and you like data, and you like science, there are that is probably the biggest area of opportunity for you in the marketing world right now. I think a lot of us here either have sales backgrounds or creative backgrounds, and we think that that's all there is in the marketing space, but there is a lot of science, a lot of numbers and data behind the things that are being done today and what's coming in the future even more. I mean, I know that Orlando probably totally understands this. And I think I learned it from him and his team the other day. I was at iHeart, that even cars today are wired. So even if you buy a new car today, there is no station, there's no dial. Okay, cars are all smart and smart radios. So we have Alexas and we have Siri and we have all these gadgets in our home that things like a radio and even a radio station are slowly, or maybe more less than slowly, coming to be a thing of the past because of all this modern technology. So if we have this equipment in our homes and in our vehicles and at work that's listening to us, it's also learning us, right? It's learning our preferences, how much we listen, where, what do we listen to, what do we turn the volume up on, right? You're like, oh, that's, all of this information is captured through data, and those of you that are in school right now, if you're looking for an angle, how to really separate yourself from the crowd, that's what I would tell you to do. Do data, get into those data analytics classes, marketing analytics, and really go down that path. If that's something that you like and you like numbers, you're gonna love it because you're the ones, behind that curtain telling people, this is how you're looking for XYZ, that's where you find them. And this is the color of that ad, and this is the font that you need to use. So it gets that granular because of the technology that's around us today.
Can I piggyback that?
Yeah.
Just for a sec? What you said about, hey, should I get into data? I'm not sure. We don't even realize that within a media company, an agency, a TV station, a radio station, there are so many positions. When someone told me, hey, you should go talk to Jorge Gomez, he works at Univision and they're hiring, I was like, number one, I'm not a on-air talent, because that's what we think of. When we think of CNN or any station, we think of on-air talent. So I said that, and they're like, no, he sells airtime. And I'm thinking, what does that mean? Because that's something we didn't even learn in college. That these advertisers are buying 30-second commercials, and each one of those commercials on radio or TV has a price. In Atlanta, it might be $300. And a client like Plaza Fiesta might buy, 20 of them a week, 50 of them a month.
You're overpaying.
He's not, he gets the family deal.
I'm just kidding.
But we didn't even realize it. So there's sales.
I know the prices.
Yeah. So there's sales, there's news that's not just on camera. I mean, there's production, editing, there is marketing, there is data analytics, there is digital. So if your passion is in media, and if you're in this room it is, know that it's not just a job about being on camera or on the radio. There is so many things that you can do within a station and then grow from there.
Absolutely. We only have a couple of minutes. I do want to open up to any questions that you guys may have.
Don't be shy.
We're going to start calling on you.
Did you raise your hand in the front? No?
Tyler, you have a question for me.
In the back.
Tyler, what's the question? Oh, you first.
My name is Andrea Rivera. I'm an economics major. My question is, how do you guys overcome imposter syndrome?
Ooh, good question. Imposter syndrome. I face that a lot. As a first gen, I'm a first everything, first college graduate, first business owner in my family. There are many times. So I haven't mentioned just now that I would be taking over the chairmanship for the board of directors for the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, a position that he held very recently. And I have many days woken up and gone, what did they see in me? Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe I'm not the right person. So trust me, it is a difficult, it's a difficult thing to encounter, but getting over it is, reevaluating and assessing my contribution, what I'm bringing to the table. So a lot of things with that position, because it's where I've had this problem for the last couple of months, with that, I've looked at, like in the past, it's like the vice president of UPS, the president of Univision. I mean, look who I'm following, right? You heard what I read about him. But I said to myself, but what do I bring to the table, right? What can I offer? And I just started writing those things down and really looking at what my contribution can be and having a plan. And reaffirming, reaffirmation, like, yes, I belong here. So it's definitely a thing, it's real, and it's difficult. Anybody else?
Sorry,
Is that it?
Okay, I'm gonna talk about the social media aspect because I know everyone here in this room uses social media almost every day, almost every hour. And it's so easy to compare yourself or what you see on social media. You have to remember that you're only seeing 1 minute or 5 minutes of each person that you see on there.
Good point.
And it's so important to clean your social media and see who you're following. If someone that you follow brings you anxiety, or you don't feel like, oh my gosh, she's doing this and I can't even wake up at 6 a.m., unfollow. That's the best way to put yourself out there and do whatever you want. And of course, you gotta stay true to yourself. Be true to yourself and follow your heart. That's my main saying since I was 13. I even have it everywhere in my room. That's my favorite tagline to say every day. And I know everyone say it, but I mean that's the only way to do whatever you want to do and whatever you're meant to be in this life. You gotta get inside your heart, your mind, and see what you want, know what your moms want, what your brother wants, what your friend's boyfriend or whatever. You gotta stay true to yourself. That's my best advice.
What Jorge wants to get us
I just want to add something to it, and I said that before. I'm a person of faith. I am where I am sitting right here because it's just the grace of God. I wouldn't be here standing. And being the success that I had throughout my lifetime in all media. But one of the things I can reflect going back, the reason I'm here is because like Ivan, I took a chance and I took opportunities, even there were scary opportunities, but I went ahead. I had a very secure job with AT&T. Like I could be there, I could be still at AT&T now, and with a opportunity, corporate. But then they kept the opportunity to work for television, and I was doing business. My first degree was in IT, information. I'm going to date myself, but I first graduated in 1984 in IT, which I used floppy disk. I don't know if you know what that is. Mainframes and floppy disk. That's what I had. Oh, and the cakes with all the disks. Yeah. Anyway, DOS. But I took that. I said, I'm leaving AT&T to go something that I don't know anything about. I was good in sales. Actually, I was not good in sales. I was good. First, I did IT, and then it's like opportunity to work for the office closed, and for AT&T, I was doing IT data processing. Well, there's an opening for credit in the credit management center. Do you want to take it? And I said, like, okay, yeah, why not? I've never done that, but then I became one of the top producers, collectors. Imagine that's the hardest sell that you could ever do, to collect money after it's being used.
I collect money.
Yeah, collect money is but I was the top in the Southeast at AT&T. Okay, and then they opened one for sales and service. It's like, okay, they want to move that office to Reston, Virginia. So I took that opportunity. So I always took the opportunity right ahead of me, just go for it. And what is the worst thing that can happen? That that you like it and do something else. But then it becomes the opportunity to work in cable. Didn't know anything about cable. I was like Ivan, this is student in 1995. And I said, okay, but I'll do it because I was bilingual. They'd hire me, and then came Univision to hire me to start the. But long story short, I am where I am because I took the risk, I took the chance, and I didn't let anybody else tell me that I couldn't do it. And believe me, there's people out there that tell you, Ivan. Yeah. Ivan was told many times that he couldn't do it, that he was not capable, when he was at Univision, to be a sales manager. Yeah. He was told many times that you couldn't be a sales manager.
I applied 3 times, and then finally they called me in and said, hey, we're downsizing. After they gave it to me the fourth time, they called me a year, 2 years later, they're like, hey, we're downsizing your position. So that's part of life. I applied to other companies.
Yeah, and what happened with that? When you got downsized, who call you?
Telemundo called me, and they said, hey, we need you. Mira, imposter syndrome, last thing, because now that I have this title, I'm starting and I'm on these boards, I get to hear other C-level people, and I hear it all the time. They're like, man, I'm sitting in this chair wondering, how the heck did I get here? When Jorge comes to see me in the office at Univision, the office that they once called me in to downsize, I'm like, bro, can you believe this? This is my office. It is. We're always going to think that about ourselves because it's human nature. We feel we're never good enough. But we have the experience. We're all individuals.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There was one more question, and I know we have to wrap up because 3 minutes to Latinos is just not the same as for others. There's somebody that's got another question.
Well, I'm just going to put this right now, but when I was thinking about this and, being a senior, it's a little scary for me to think of, going into, an industry that, at least from my perspective, what I've known, hasn't always been predominantly Hispanic. But I've met all of you, and all of you are so into part of your culture, con su cultura, that it's admirable. And I guess my question is how do you retain that part of you? like not lose it while being in an industry that's not predominantly Hispanic?
I mean, Latino to la guy. That's the word. Like, yo soy orgulloso de mis raíces. For a company like iHeart, we've had these conversations, Trevino and I, a lot. You know, there's iHeart Media, there's iHeart Radio, which is the app, and there's the division of iHeart Latino. The division of iHeart Latino is maybe max, probably what Trevino, a good 80, maybe? Maybe less, you know? There's little of us, but we ride deep. And when I say ride deep, I mean it in a way that we're proud of it. Like in the hallways of our main building, we're speaking in Spanish. Like we don't you know, seclude ourselves to being in a little, you know, oh my God, what they're gonna think of us. Like we scream out that we're Latino, all from coffee, from cafecito in the morning, to just singing Bad Bunny songs and Maluma and J Balvin songs through the hallways. Like, just be proud of who you are, because being who you are will get you places, you know? We spoke about it a little while ago, being bilingual. That's such a huge blessing for anybody. Doesn't mean Spanish, English. It could be, you know, if you speak if you speak German and English, just being bilingual opens so many doors and gives you so much more respect in an industry that's so, you know, so closed in, especially like me. Like I know with Ivan, you know, obviously it's Univision, so everything's in Spanish, but he deals with a lot of clients that only speak English, but he lets his culture be known. The same for us at iHeart. Like it's a company that the majority are American, and we gotta impose ourselves, and when we know something's wrong, we gotta speak up and say, no, that's not how we do it as Latinos. So just be proud of who you are and always push that you're Latin. Like never hide that, because that's a big plus that you have.
And I know we've got to wrap up, so I'm just gonna close off this panel and also that question. I'm just telling you that the people up here are really responsible for paving the road for all of you. You guys are coming behind us. We need you. We need you big time, right? This is a very small Latino community, even though it's a very fast growing community. I think we're close to getting the top 10 as a market for Latinos, so there's tons of opportunity for you guys. But these are the folks that paved it, that paid the price, that really, you know, had to come in when they were the only ones, right? I'm sure all of us could tell stories when we were the only one in our company that was Latino, and it was tough. Be happy and take advantage that you are in it. This is our season. Being Latino, like how many of you guys noticed how many Hispanic heritage events there were all over this city, every little town, right? That has never happened. I've never seen that. Before COVID, I never saw that. So being Latino right now is actually a very good thing. I think
we are in.
Yes, we are definitely trending. And it's only going to help you in your careers. Own your language. Do not let anyone shame you. It's none of our faults if our parents didn't speak to us in Spanish and our Spanish is not polished. It's none of our faults if we were born and raised in another country and our English is not that polished. I'm so against any language shaming. So own your language, own your accent. If you don't speak Spanish, own your Latinidad, because being Latino is not only speaking Spanish, it's knowing your culture, it's understanding them and embracing them. So there's a lot of other pieces there that I encourage you guys to
and come to Plaza Fiesta, you would.
And come to Plaza Fiesta. If you need some culture, go to Plaza Fiesta. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to Lisa, for the entire team here at the Career Development Center, and we hope to be able to come back again.